All right, let's start by saying Barak Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Racha Kudash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is It's Not a Coincidence. And pretty much, this is based off of some information that was sent to me earlier today. And I've just been meditating on it. It's doing a lot of juicing, so it took me a while to get it all done. But it's finally all done. Finally got a chance to get everything taken care of. So I've been thinking about this letter and the whole destabilization that's going on over there in so-called Europe and around the world. And it's all pretty much being done with purpose. First and foremost is prophecy. And then second of all, it's this is the plan. They want a destabilization so that they can, bring in the NWO. All right. Matter of fact, let me get this one precept. Hold on to this. Something that just came to my mind. Something on my mind. Something on my mind. And just bear with me. Okay. So let me go here. I'm gonna type in destabilization definition, just so you can see, because it's the opposite of being stable. When you're stabilized, it means you're unmovable, you're set, you're sure, you won't be moved. But when you're destable, there's a lot of moving parts to it. There's nothing there to, keep you, grounded. So destabilization, also spelled destabilization, means the process of making something unstable, less secure, or less predictable. And that's pretty much what they want, so that they can bring in this so-called New World Order. Remember, Esau, they operate under ambiguity. They operate under, nothing being certain. So everything could always be open for interpretation. And that's why, the Venezuelans in China were going to set something up down there. Been just watching different, news outlets and different talking points. And, they're saying that China has a great investment out there, which is true, out in Venezuela, and that they were looking for a way to switch from the US dollar to another type of payment. The same way they did Gaddafi, the same way they did Saddam Hussein. But pretty much, yeah, that may be well and all, but at the end of the day, it's all a big psyop. I was watching this guy. I'm not sure what his name is. He has a few different channels. One of them is called Call for an Uprising. And he was showing pictures of Maduro after they captured him, so-called. And he had the handcuffs on, and he had a big smile on his face, and he had two thumbs up in both pictures. And like the guy said, does this look like a person that was abducted? Because if you were abducted from your bed, and your wife also, you would be pissed the fuck off. You would be mad. But it's all a part of destabilization, geopolitical destabilization, because they have to remember their motto, right, is, let's go here, ordo ab chaos, meaning, right? Ordo ab chaos, meaning, ordo ab chaos is a Latin phrase meaning order out of chaos, or order from chaos. Order, ab, from, chaos. Meaning and usage, it expresses the idea that structure, harmony, or order can emerge from disorder. This is what they're doing. They're destabilizing the world to bring in the new order of the ages. And this is why on the back of the dollar bill, right? Can you show me the back of the $1 bill? Just want to show you something. Let's see if it'll bring it up. It's generating the image. It can describe in detail. I can describe in detail for you here, and if you're logged in with image generation enabled, I can generate a visual image. All right, they won't do it because I'm not logged in. So let's do this instead. Let's back of dollar bill. Okay, I want the whole back. There we go. So as you can see here, this is a US dollar bill. You can pull this out if you have a dollar. And in the back of it, Anua Coeptis, our enterprise has been crowned Novus Ordo Seclorum, the new order of the ages. So it's been crowned with success. And what is that? The new world order. And when did this take place? When you look at the bottom of the pyramid, these Roman numerals here all add up to 1776. Most people think it's talking about July 4th, 1776, which this year will mark the 250th year of the American Empire. But it's not dealing with July 4th. It's dealing with May 1st, 1776, the establishment of the Bavarian faction of the Illuminati, and that's exactly what it is. So what is their goal? A new order of the ages. And how are they going to accomplish a new order of the ages? Well, through destabilization. And this is why one of their mottos is called Ordo ab Chaos, or order out of chaos, right? Meaning in usage, it expresses the idea that structure, harmony, or order can emerge from disorder. And that's why you see these different governments so-called being toppled. There's different individuals are against each other. Different countries are against each other. But you have to remember that the leaders of these countries are all in tandem. They're working together. Because if a leader of a country is not playing ball with the international bankers, they're going to move him out of the way. Because if there's an individual that's in the way of the progress of the New World Order, they're going to move him out the way. And they're doing it through Amalek over there in the land of Israel. They're really the ones pushing that global agenda, because the international bankers, are small hats, little tops, mini caps, It says often used philosophically, politically, or symbolically. It is famously associated with Freemasonry, where it represents the belief that moral and social order can be built from confusion or turmoil. And this is what they're bringing. This is why the world is in such chaos. They want a destabilized world so that they can bring in the order, which would be what? The world order, based upon new principles of one world government, one world religion, one world monetary system, which we understand now in these times, to be a digital one. See, back then, the digital footprint didn't exist like it does today. Back then, the closest thing to it was a credit card. And, back, in the world, prior, a few years before coming into the truth, I used to hang out with those Ansar Allah community individuals, kicking it with them. And they used to always talk about, the credit card and the cashless society that's coming, that's emerging, So the plans have always been the same. but we're in a point now where the technology has advanced to the point where they want everything digital because they figured a way to control everyone digitally, through social credit scores and many other, online, practices. It says more broadly, it appears in discussion of history, systems theory, and creativity, suggesting that crisis can lead to renewal or transformation. And that's what it's leading to: renewal and transformation, transforming the old world into a new world. That's what the term old world order and new world order is all about. Out with the old, in with the new. All right. And every time there is a change of orders, it is usually changed through the monetary system. All right. The latest prior to this one coming up, the CBDC, or digital currencies, digital bank currencies, or the micro CHIP used for payments and everything else, it was the US dollar, which became the Federal Reserve, or the world reserve currency. Now that we're at the point, and that was a time of reset. Now we're in a new time of reset in the future, and the new reset money or economy or finance is going to be a digital one, which no matter what they bring in, whether it's a CBDC, a stable coin, or whatever coin or digital platform they bring in, it's all going to be diverted or brought to the MOTB, which is the micro CHIP, because they want everyone, chipped. They want everyone, to be tracked. It says, in essence, Odo Abkeo conveys the hope or principle that chaos is not the end, but the beginning of order. And this is their mentality. All right, this is how they view it in their mind. And we showed you here what it was. Now, the letter in question is here. This is from an Italian website. It's the government of Italy, right? From the Ministry of Consiglio, I think that's Council, Presidencia, President of Council of Ministry. All right, joint statement on Greenland. This is January 6th. And today is January 6th. Remember the infamous January 6th that happened? What was that? Was that what year was that? When Biden got in office? Was that 2021? Let's see, 25, 24, 23, 22. It was either 2021, 2022, somewhere around there. I can't remember the exact year, but when Biden so-called got into office and they had that big thing that popped off at the White House, January 6th. Well, this is an actual governmental, letter. It's a statement by President Macron of France, Chancellor Merz of Germany, Prime Minister Meloni of Italy, Prime Minister Tusk of Poland, Prime Minister Sanchez of Spain, Prime Minister Starmer of United Kingdom, and Prime Minister Frederiksson of Denmark on Greenland. So these are all, so-called European nations, and some of them, if not all of them, no, some of them, not all of them, some of them are part of the 10 horns. Like France is no, not France. France is not a part of the 10 horns. Let me see something. Oh, just bear with me. All right. So I had to get the list because there's different European. Well, yeah, it is part of the 10 horns, Slovakia. So France is a part of the 10 horns. So is Germany. Italy also. Poland is not a part of the 10 horns. Spain is a part of the 10 horns. And Denmark is also a part of the 10 horns. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members, because I believe that's 7 altogether. So 6 members of the 10 horns or of the EU are not with this. This is why the scriptures speak about. Matter of fact, I'm going to read that, but I have to bring this out first. I'm going to go straight to the point, and I'm going to come back up. Daniel 7:20, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, this represents the European Union. Lord's will, we know we'll get into some of it. And of the other which came up, the other that came up was America. That was a little horn that came up. Daniel 7 little horn is different from Daniel 8. All right. The Daniel 7 little horn is America. And before whom 3 fell, these were the 3 major so-called European nations that were had lock, stock, and barrel control over America until America ousted them out. The British, the Spanish, and eventually the French, which pretty much sold their territories here because Napoleon at the time was too bogged down with too many wars, so he just sold this place. But also you had what they call the Indian French wars, was it? Indian French war, something like that, where France was helping Gad or vice versa fight against Esau here in America. It says, even of that horn that had eyes, that's America, and a mouth that spake very great things. And you see Trump popping off, whose look was more stout than his fellows, right? And they look down upon these other European nations, and that's why these European nations look down on them, because these European nations are tired of taking the low. They're tired of, every time America, sneezes, they catch a cold. Every time America makes a decision, the ones that are affected are the allies and not America, really, So going back, so there's 6 members here that signed this, and that are putting this out. And there was a woman, I believe she's from Denmark, and pretty much said that if Trump or America attacks Greenland, that's it, that's the end of NATO. Or did she say, yeah, I believe she said that's the end of NATO. There's so much going on. So Salaki, if that's not the exact quote. So it says Arctic security remains a key priority for Europe, and it is critical for international and transatlantic security. It's about security, right? NATO has made clear that the Arctic region is a priority, and European allies are stepping up. We see European allies are stepping up. They are allied with each other, and America is also a part of that allied union. Are stepping up. We and many other allies have increased our presence, activities, and investments to keep the Arctic safe and to deter adversaries. The Kingdom of Denmark, including Greenland, is part of NATO. Security in the Arctic must therefore be achieved collectively, meaning all together, in conjunction with NATO allies, including the United States, by upholding the principles of the UN Charter, including sovereignty, territorial integrity, and inviolability of borders. Yeah, because the borders are supposed to stay safe. You can't violate those orders. You're supposed to, be joint members, and that was the agreement that you would work together. But when America makes decisions, they're the ones that have the lion's share of the votes, and the so-called European nations are tired of it. And there was a movie, I think it was either National Lampoon or European Vacation. It was 2. Chevy Chase was in it, and pretty much they were showing how the Europeans have a disdain for the so-called Americans and how they mock them, and rightly so. It says these are universal principles, and we will not stop defending them. See? So basically, if America attacks Greenland, then these members that are allies with America are going to fight against America, right? So the United States is an essential partner in this endeavor as a NATO ally and through the defense agreement between the Kingdom of Denmark and the United States of 1951. So this goes way back to 1951. You know, this is after the signing and setting up of NATO, which I believe that was 1949. I haven't gone over the history in a while, if I'm not mistaken. And then the talks for the EU or the EEC, European Economic Community, started in March of 1957. They got their charter January 1st, 1958. But NATO, I believe that was 1949. So this was a couple of years after the creation of NATO that America, agreed to these terms. And now they're talking about violating them. It says Greenland belongs to its people. It is for Denmark and Greenland and them only to decide on matters concerning Denmark and Greenland. And, these devils, he's pretty much irrational. Trump is irrational. He's moving erratic, but it's all the spirit. Let's go from there. And then we'll come right back to this. Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So the Lord is working on the minds of these kings. And that's how the Lord works, Let's go real quick to Job, and then we'll come back. Job 33:15. It says, in a dream, in the vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instruction. So the Lord, when men are sleeping, that's when the instructions of what that individual is going to do the next day are sealed for him, that he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from man. And why is, at this point, Trump acting erratic like he is? Well, he's being backed by the small hats, pushed by the small hats, but also really it goes back to the Heavenly Father directing this devil's steps. Remember, Russia, Putin and all them, they're all in bed with all these different leaders. It's all one big show. It's all one big, it's a one big, happy family, so to speak. But the Lord said that he's going to put an evil thought in the heart of the king in the heart of Gog, to push that button, just merely just to so you can get an idea, so although everyone's playing ball and all these different leaders are in bed together, they're all allied together, the Lord is going to cause something to happen to where that is severed. And then the real show fireworks are going to happen. He keepeth back his soul from the pit and his life from perishing by the sword. All right. Obadiah 1:7. All the men of that confederacy have brought thee even to the border. So there's like, look, you come fuck with us, we're gonna show you the exit. Now they know that America is a major part and an important part of NATO. But they're at the point where they're tired of America's bullshit. They're tired of America's antics. And they're going to act upon it. Why? Because it's prophecy. All right? It says, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. I'm going to end this real quick, and then I'll be right back. Just give me a few. I'll just do a quick part 2 to this. Shalom.